And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another an hour filled of antics and fun. I'm Ken Chester. This is RoadWorthy Drive. Behind the scenes, we're in studio with the usual suspects as opposed to convicts. That's Jack. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
At the controls.
Write this down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Write this down.
Got it. What do you got?
Jack.
No. Here's what I'm saying. We're going to start counting the talent's mistakes.
Oh, I like
Man,
that.
you're going to lose track of that, ain't you?
No.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm not sure.
And this one over here, this is Sasha, our social media diva.
Sparkles.
No, you didn't.
Glitter.
Oh.
All kinds of glitter.
No.
Glitter.
No.
No.
Anyway,
Do you
people,
see what I have to
this
deal with?
this is a automotive technology and consumer show, even though it may not seem like it. May seem more chaotic than that. Our usual, in a few minutes, we'll talk from the parts bin with news that we have and wanted to talk about. Our topics today, the future of credit, which really amazed me as I did the research. Not what you might think, and money as you know it may be passé. Topic B, I call it the domestic struggle, and this is news from both Chrysler and Ford. And then finally, topic C, the way the future should be from a technological and engineering standpoint. Toyota's winning hand. Toyota's got a foot in each aspect of its propulsion technology. We'll take a look, and I think the results will surprise you. All that and more right here on RoadWorthy Drive behind the scenes. Glad you could be with us. Strap in. It may get bumpy. Are we ready? 11 minutes, people.
I'm ready. 11 minutes.
Our phones have been
Yep.
muted. Okay, let's do it.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Somebody turned my pots off.
What?
Okay, now, Jack?
Yeah. Yes.
I am hearing, when it's silent, I am hearing some kind of playback.
Oh, I can tell you what it is. It's WHO.
Oh.
And I have no idea why.
And I mentioned that to him because I've been hearing it.
And I can't hear it.
Ghost whispers in the back. It's like hearing like Jiminy Cricket, kind of.
Okay.
It's weird.
Listen to the voice.
Okay, here we go.
Do you want to go faster? Yeah!
It's RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester. Ken loves talking about cars and automotive trends. And here he is, the automotive host with the most, Ken Chester.
This is the time, and this right here is the place. Don't touch that dial because you are tuned to RoadWorthy Drive. I'm so glad you found me. I'm your host, automotive historian and technological tour guide, Ken Chester. Each week, I pack each and every hour full of the news, talk, and information you need with respect to what's going on right now of consumer interest, and more importantly, to give you a heads up on what's coming. This hour is no exception. We're going to get things started with a bit of rummaging around for tidbits and interest from the parts bin in a few minutes. But first, for those of you that may be first-time listeners who'd like to join in the conversation, I got you covered. Call or text the RoadWorthy Drive line. That number, 872-222-9793. That number is good anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For those of you of the written word persuasion, you can reach me by email. That's ken@roadworthydrive.com. Either way, we'll connect you directly with me and the show. As always, I'd love to hear from you. As usual, I'm in studio, not by myself, but with the RoadWorthy Drive crew regulars. Executive producer and designated adult in the room, that's Jack at the controls, and our resident geek girl and social media diva, Sasha at mic number 2. Howdy, my peoples.
Hello.
Hello.
Boy, so much excitement
Well, he just had lunch, so he's got to let that all settle.
He's a little mellow.
He's a little mellowed out.
Yeah,
I'm
a little mellow.
So sugar's evened out. It's all good.
Last show I got a little bit passionate, so I think I want to try to calm it down a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely want to tune in for our behind the scenes videos that we have online. Yeah, you can really see Jack get wound into a tight little ball and about various things.
Well,
a fun time.
I had a good reason last time to get wound up.
Yes, you did, sir.
Mhm,
Yes, you did.
mhm. We, believe it or not, one of the rare times we all agreed with Jack.
Mhm.
It happens. It does
Not
happen.
often, but it happens.
It happens. Please don't be shocked. We are professionals.
Are we?
Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
I are a broadcast professional.
Mhm, mhm.
Is that R spelled, or written out
Backwards.
backwards?
Just
Yeah.
they are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm ready and I'm armed. Let's discuss what I got here from the parts bin. Let's talk about GM's new peer-to-peer service.
Okay.
GM, we've talked about mobility.
Mhm.
Still talking. This is another brick in the wall of mobility. GM is launching a pilot program of a new peer-to-peer car sharing service this summer. It's going to allow GM car owners to rent out their vehicles when they're not using them, which is a fine way to balance what GM is getting sticker prices for these things.
Okay, but now we're going to be putting more mileage on the cars, decreasing the value of the car.
Value is a misnomer.
Yes,
It's
it
an
is.
appreciating asset. Why does it matter? You don't buy a car for an investment.
That's what a lot of people have been tricked into believing, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's bogus. I'll use that term. That's a safe term I can use.
Yeah, that is a safe term you can use.
Bogus. I would like to use a stronger term, but you
No,
guys
you
won't allow
can't.
me. Yeah. Doggone FCC. Anyway, owners of GM cars will be able to make their cars available on GM's Maven car sharing platform for other drivers to rent, and they're going to split the revenue from the bookings with GM. If this pilot is successful, they're hoping to spin it out into a separate, full-fledged business.
Okay, questions.
Yes.
Where does this car go when you're not using it? Does somebody come pick it up?
Okay.
Does it go to a central location?
They didn't talk about all that, but I would imagine that the vehicle would probably, if this is going to work and be relatively transparent to the owner, is, either like a parking garage when you go to work, or some central place like that, or within your neighborhood, which would get a little creepy for a stranger to just suddenly show
Yeah.
up and take your car. I'm sure, and I guess this is what the pilot will work out, but they're not alone. Tesla's talking about doing the same thing, and there's reason to suspect that Ford, and we talked about Ford's mobility
Right.
program and really thought that Ford had really thought mobility through as best you can in a world that's changing like this. So would not be surprised if Ford might do something like that. Canvas.
Do you have to dig like that?
I did.
Canvas is the future for automotive
Let
ownership
it
and mobility.
go. Let it go.
No, she's not going to let it go. The thing that I just find fascinating about this whole entire thing
Uh-huh.
I do
is
not
that-
like Fords.
is that we've converted her to Ford.
Wait a minute. I don't know about the we.
Canvas converted her to Ford.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we'll
Canvas.
see. In case you're wondering, there is a method behind the madness. Our very first next month Tech with Sasha segment, she will be talking about car sharing services like Canvas.
I have to correct you, sir. It
Yes.
would actually be my second Tech with Sasha. My first one was Pedal the App with the wonderful Eric Lunseth. Yes.
I stand corrected.
As you well
But,
should.
but I will also correct Sasha in that it's going to be a semi-regular feature instead of a once-in-a-blue moon thing.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to it. You're going to want to, too. We will let you know when Sasha is ready to unleash her wisdom upon the ears of our very cherished listeners so that you can capture all of it.
You know, I wish he would have told me that it was going to get deep in here. I would have put my boots on.
All
Oh,
I
my.
want- All I
See,
want to do is families all over this nation are going to be putting their kids either to college. A lot of seniors are going to be graduating. Mom and dad might be looking for something, and you don't necessarily have to buy the new child a new car. There are other options.
Excuse me. Most parents ain't buying their child a new car.
They're buying a car.
Yeah, they're buying a car. I'm just
If
saying.
they're lucky.
I'm just saying that there are other options out there that might be more feasible, so that way you're not tacking on all the issues that go with the car ownership.
Okay, getting back to this here.
Canvas.
Whatever. GM is talking about, they're actually, this is a growing part of the mobility landscape.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling it Airbnb for cars. And there's some non-manufacturer startups like Turo and Get Around. They're already in space doing this. And like I said, we talked about Tesla, who also has announced back last year, actually, no, not quite a year and a half ago, that they're going to make something like this available for Tesla owners, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, as they say, watch this space. How about a tire company that is introducing a cyber car concept, that the lowly tire is getting a sensor?
Okay, now, what, like right now with cars, bless you.
Again.
I'm
You
allergic to this. No, go ahead.
You have already have sensors that will tell you if the tire is like too low in pressure, that kind of thing. Are you saying
Correct.
beyond that?
Beyond that, the company is Pirelli. The
Okay.
concept is called their Cyber Car Initiative. It's a smart tire system which supplies important data to the car's control system via an embedded sensor. This sensor will capture and transmit key tire data to the vehicle, such as pressure, internal temperature, and tread depth. Here's the kicker. It would be able to activate systems such as anti-lock brakes and stability control. By reading a tire's ID, for example, the vehicle could then alter its setup for a safer, more comfortable ride. By knowing the car's accurate weight, the vehicle central control unit can calculate precisely how many miles can be driven before the vehicle needs to be recharged if it's an electric car.
How does that connect with the car itself? Like, is it like a...
It's Wi-Fi.
Well, it could be. No, it doesn't say.
It doesn't? Okay.
It doesn't say, so I'm not going to go out on a limb, but theoretically, or it could be linked to a sensor in the center hub.
But wouldn't that prove that they would have to reach out to these automakers?
Already have. They're working with them now.
Yeah, because, I mean, you would have to make sure that all the automakers, they have a hub that would be compatible.
Well, everything would have to be uniform.
Let me put it to you this way. The first Cybercar fitted models will arrive actually this year, 2018, with several manufacturers already at an advanced stage of integrating Pirelli's technology into their own systems.
What I'm waiting for is to see if all of a sudden the next thing that the car manufacturers offer basically is a little mini compressor that the sensor does. If the tire is low, it automatically fills it with air.
Oh, yeah, but you're assuming...
And it's already
that
being
tires-
done right now in semis and tractor trailers.
And Hummers, but Hummer had a system like that.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Last thought. The next evolution would be the tire of the future based on a technical platform capable of collecting even more data, transmitting information to the car's onboard systems with every wheel rotation. It's coming, people. So much for that. With all the changes in and around you today, your credit is due for a major makeover. That's next. Topic A. Stay tuned. You're listening to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Go to roadworthydrive.com to check out Ken's blog, listen to past shows, and the times when you can see the show on Facebook Live.
Okay, now I have a question about the tire. I do think that would be interesting because can you imagine, like he was saying at the very end, the amount of data and the amount of research that they're going to be saving
Getting
by real-time use of their tires. And secondly, my question is, I get that they're communicating with other automakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'm just saying these names because we obviously don't know which automakers, but let's just say they're working with Lexus and BMW and Mercedes-Benz, all right?
Or
Ferrari, whatever. Now, does that mean that I have to get the tire that is specifically made for my model Ferrari? Or is that size going to be uniform no matter what car I'm driving?
Here's the thing. They're talking about these as original equipment tires
Okay.
to start with. If you're driving a Ferrari, you ain't about to put 100,000 miles on a Ferrari. Ain't gonna happen.
Just diverting from the question is not answer the question.
I'm getting there, dear Sasha.
Uh-huh.
It boils down to this. It's early. It would depend on tire size. Yeah, no. Pirelli's the one that's going to have to make that available in a variety of tire sizes. I mean, there's only so much the car industry can do. Pirelli's going to have to do that. So it's going to be on a variety of tire sizes. That's for sure.
And they're going to have to adapt.
Right. But see, do you understand my question, though?
I thoroughly understand your question. The other question, piggybacking off of yours,
Uh-huh.
is, am I going to be able to get a replacement tire that has the same sensor in it when I wear my first set out?
Well, the sensor would be the same.
Right, but I need a new tire. Like, let's say I come across a nail. Let's say that,
You hit a deer.
Let's say somebody slashes
or a moose.
right, or a moosin. But,
Yeah, we went there.
Yeah, I know.
is it going to be something where, because, of course, you have to
Okay,
if they're
people.
talking about the tire actually comes on the vehicle when I
Okay,
purchase it.
yeah.
Hold on. Now, if I get another one, do I have to take it back into the dealership for them
Okay,
to resync
stop-
all four
people,
of the sensors?
People, stop.
Kind of like balancing your
Stop,
tires.
people.
I'm just trying.
Stop. We don't know all that. They introduced it. It's coming. We introduced the concept. We'll learn more as automakers announce that it's going to be part of their vehicles. Then we'll know all that. Right now, we don't. To answer your question.
He knew that I was going to ask these kind of questions, though.
Well,
Not
and
necessarily.
I think the one thing that we need to do is that I would hope that Pirelli would put out a white paper that would answer these questions.
Right. I mean, they're
But
saying
hold
that it's
on,
going to
but-
be later this year. So, I mean, why would
Once
they not?
the manufacturers announce this is going to be standard equipment on their vehicles, which to me would seem that would be high-end vehicles in low volumes at first, which would typically mean Maserati, Ferrari, vehicles like that. So they can get some history. You're not going to I doubt, now this is just me talking,
Okay.
I doubt they're going to go to a major market, high volume manufacturer, say Chevrolet or a Ford or something like that right away.
And it won't be introduced here, I'll bet you.
I would argue that you're right. I would think that it would be European at first.
Yep.
They'll get the history. They'll develop knowledge and history. Then they'll roll that out. Typically, and we reported this a few weeks back, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety had said that on average, a new attribute takes 30 years to reach 95% penetration in the
True.
market.
True.
So we're at the very beginning. I would not expect to see this on your Kia for at least 25 years, but even by that time, you won't be driving it anyway.
You're right.
So enough of that. Do you have our next
Yes, I do.
queued up? Let me reset. We're at 9 minutes.
We're at 9, sir.
Hold on. Okay, 9 minutes, part 2. Hold on. Make sure I got the right paperwork in the right place.
Sasha, but I do like your questions.
Thank you. Oh, no.
What? Is it on subject? Is it on?
It's
okay.
never on subject.
Okay.
It's not on subject.
We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Okay, 9 minutes, people.
9 minutes. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Gasoline stations are pretty much alike. Service stations aren't. It doesn't take long to see the difference. Long enough for your Gulf dealer to check a few things. Rear window, so you can see what's behind you better. Taillights, so what's behind can see you better. Tires, whether they're worn, bruised, or cut. Battery, water, oil, fan belts, wiring, so you'll get where you're going. Headlights and windshield, so you'll clearly see how to get there. A service station ought to mean more than just a place to buy gasoline. Finding out it does takes just long enough to fill your tank, about 3 minutes, where your driving takes a turn for the best at the sign of the orange disc.
They used to be called full-service stations.
Now, for our younger audience, would you please explain that?
A full-service station is where your gas was pumped by an attendant, your window was cleaned by an attendant, your oil was checked by an attendant, tire pressure usually checked. They basically checked your car over when you came in for gas.
Yep.
And you didn't usually have to get out of the car.
I remember those
And
days.
honestly, it was just in the news not too long ago. There's actually a couple states here in the United States where it's illegal.
New Jersey and Oregon.
Yep.
Yep,
and
to
one,
pump your own gas.
and what I'm laughing because of all the social media attention that they got. But what state was it that they legalized it in or in rural areas where the population was under so much?
Was it at Oregon?
I forget whether it was.
It definitely wasn't Jersey, I can tell you that.
You don't think it was Jersey? So it might have been
No.
Oregon. But they legalized it because, I mean, the guys had a point. After a certain hour, if you were on E, you were just SOL because, I mean, there was no place to fill up.
Yeah, well, in any case, that changed from service stations to gas stations in the mid-1970s,
Yep.
partially due to the OPEC oil crises,
Yep.
and then some truths became. Truth number one, most of those operators leased their stores. The oil companies own the land.
Oh.
They didn't. So when those leases came up, they kicked the full service people out, put a convenience store in and some pumps. And that's how that happened.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
kind of nasty through the 70s.
And Texas was probably the last state to do it.
Really?
Would not surprise me.
Yep.
Well, folks, if you wonder what all this rambling is about, if you're just joining us, you've tuned to RoadWorthy Drive. I'm your host for the hour, Ken Chester, and we're grateful for you dropping by. The topic for this hour, topic A, is about credit. Love it, hate it. It's a fact of life for most adults. Using it, paying for it, being denied of it. All a fact of life. Most Americans borrow money and need credit when they purchase a new or late model vehicle. Like pretty much everything else in our lives today, the concept of credit is changing. Imagine this. A future where credit is not a limit, but a freedom. Sounds a little far-fetched, don't it? Well, they call it the third age of credit, and that's our topic A.
Okay, you're going to have to explain this because you lost me.
Yeah, didn't I? Right now, and a lot of people may not have heard of this term, fintech, which are financial companies using technology to lend, borrow, and provide money in different ways.
Okay.
As a business, I have actually dealt with some fintech firms that have allowed me credit in situations where conventional credit was not available to me.
Mm-hmm.
Saved my business, actually. But they do get their pound of flesh for it.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at alternative approaches to credit. Now, I'm not going to get into this piece. This is a piece that talked about the first age, the second age. I'm going to skip to what a new world of credit looks like, according to them. Imagine it revolves around something called self-sovereign identity. In short, you keep all of your personal information yourself. It's not in a credit bureau. It's not in a database somewhere. You got it.
Okay.
And you only, under certain circumstances, make pieces of it available, but you're in full control of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Basically, what they're talking about is a world in which money, you don't actually apply for credit anymore, but credit and money, the definition actually blurs. That you are assessed credit, you get credit as you need it, and your credit line goes up and down.
Okay.
But it's not even really a credit line. It becomes
redefined.
Yes.
And what they're talking about is a complete incorporation of, like, someone like me. I choose to shy away from credit. I tend to pay things outright.
Mhm.
What they're saying is, in the third lane of the economy or of credit itself, it's going to be interchangeable with money. You're not going to have a set income or parameters. You're going to be allotted as a standard so much money, and then you pay off of that. And let's say out of your paycheck, so much goes to that allotment.
Yeah, they'll look at your real-time income and your real-time expenses and adjust it accordingly. Here's a couple of examples. A couple of startup firms, M-Pesa and Branch in Kenya, provide developing world credit using mobile data. Another company called Lendable does so using psychographic data, and still another company called Cora does this on the blockchain. I'm not going to go off all into the weeds about blockchain, but basically blockchain is a controlled, distributed, independent way of sharing data where the user is in control, but yet it's almost impossible to hack because you know about every step of the way, and every single step is protected and unique.
Well, I mean,
Okay, which would help with
all the
identity
craziness
theft.
going on right now, like
Equifax.
Equifax. In fact, to go you a little further, a White House cybersecurity czar even said at one time that the time is now to get rid of Social Security numbers that are so intimately tied to credit scores, which can't be changed, even identity theft, that the day of the Social Security number may in fact be obsolete. And you just went through some of that, didn't you?
Yeah. Because here's my thing. A lot of people don't understand. Social Security number, when it was first issued, they specifically said it was
Don't
never,
use it.
it was
Exactly.
never supposed to be used for personal identification.
And that's exactly how it's used.
Yep.
Exactly.
Picture this. In the future, customers won't have to request credit. Rather, it will be automatically allocated to them in advance based off of many factors such as behavior, age, assets, and needs. It will be liquid rather than dispersed in fixed tranches. In other words, I need to borrow $10,000. It might, in fact, need $1,500. So forward me $1,500 just becomes part of what's available to me, as opposed to having to borrow the full 10.
Okay.
As it becomes increasingly commoditized, in many cases, and this is the kicker, it'll be close to free.
Yep.
Imagine that.
Okay, I am completely lost.
Exactly.
It takes away
Basically, credit becomes as liquid as money.
Yep.
And that is the bottom line. Where the consumer, the person, can hold on to their own identity. What coming up? The domestic struggle. A look at Ford and Chrysler. This is RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthyDrive.com is the place to keep up with the latest happenings with Ken and the show.
Because we have to keep up with Ken and the show.
Right? Now, here's my thing, Jack, and what I thought was absolutely amazing about this piece. We talked on an earlier show about when the credit scores were taking that leap when they decided to revamp how it was scored, okay? There were things back then that people were like, I pay my light bill on time, I pay my cell phone bill on time, I pay my rent on time. I pay all these bills that actually freaking matter, that should attest to who I am, my character, and what I'm able to do. But right now, the way that the credit score is actually put up, those things don't count. But in this new age of the third wave, what they are saying is that they incorporate every part of your life into one. He's going to pull it up. Go ahead.
Basically, this, as you know it, becomes obsolete.
Well, and that was the thing I was going to say. Right now, what they're trying to do is make it a cashless society.
Yeah, but it's deeper than that. Let me read this to you right quick, because I think this will shed some light on it. And it's really the very essence of where all of this flows out from. The emerging answer is self-sovereign identity. This digital concept is very similar to the way we keep our non-digital identities today. Today, we keep passports, birth certificates, utility bills at home under our own control, maybe even in an important drawer, and we share them when needed. We don't store these bits of papers with a third party. Self-sovereign identity is the digital equivalent of what we do with bits of paper now, but there's more. How would it work? You would have an app on a smartphone or computer, some sort of identity wallet, maybe like Google Wallet, where the identity data would be stored on the hard drive of your device. may be backed up on another device or personal backup solution, but it is crucially not stored in a central repository.
Well, because our central Equifax, what's the other one?
Yeah.
They have let us down.
Yep.
Our banks have let us down.
Yep.
These individual structures that decide to make money on this
Arbitrary.
imaginary thing called credit. They have let us down repeatedly. And then when we told them and when we showed them how they have let us down, then they decided to put up laws and regulations that would further distance themselves from their own mistakes.
Let me go a little further. This identity wallet would start off empty with only, and this is important, a self-generated identification number derived from a public key and a corresponding private key, like a password used to create digital signature. This key pair differs from a username and password because it is created by the user rolling the dice and doing some math rather than by requesting a username password combination from a third party. At this stage, no one else in the world but you know about this identification number. You created it yourself. It is self-sovereign. The laws of big numbers and details change. The customer updates it once and can push the change to connected banks. Obviously, there are challenges and problems, not to mention how would banking law, consumer protection law, truth in lending law change in a world like that. But the key is, and even we reported it here too, the important thing to know is what if you're a person like an older farmer or folks who've been through the Depression and said, you know what? I'm never, ever going to have debt.
Yep.
Everything I'm going to do, I'm going to pay cash for it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In today's society, you have no credit.
That's right.
And you would be turned down just like somebody with bad credit.
No, but yeah.
You can have $1 million in the bank,
but
cash money,
turned down.
but you'd get turned down to finish. Now, the credit agencies are starting to look at what they call, and we reported that here, alternative ways to score based on your bills, which is in this direction, but not as far as what they're advocating.
Right.
It's not self-sovereignty, but it's not a self-sovereign identity. But that seems to be that combined with a blockchain, which is a very secure way of for lack of a better word, bookkeeping.
Yep.
Okay.
Extremely secure, and it's being used in a lot of different ways, and it has the ability, literally, to change the world.
Well, and I guess my take on this is, again, our banking systems are the people that are supposed to be regulating our banking systems. The Social Security number was come out, and it's become what it is in a fraudulent manner. It was never, ever, ever supposed to be a identification number for your personal identification, ever. Right now, your Social Security number is more important than your birth certificate.
Let me throw this at you, and then we have to drop this. How is credit, personal credit, evaluated prior to 1956?
I don't know.
It was personal. It was a handshake.
No.
Go ahead.
Rumor, neighbors, race, age, maybe a vendor or two. It was very imperfect. In 1956 is when the fellas of Fair, Isaac and Company developed the FICO score, which was the first algorithm-based statistical evaluation of credit that theoretically reduced a lot of those built-in biases.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, it's changed before. We're on probably like everything else, and I know some people who are a little reluctant to change don't want to hear it. But and I don't say that with any snark, but we are on the cusp of some of the most major changes relative to how we interact, buy, and sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and my
Since the history of man.
the biggest question I had out of that whole piece that we just did was, what do you mean the credit's going to be free? At some point in time, if somebody gives me credit, I have to pay it back.
No. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of blockchain and real-time evaluation.
But see, that's the thing. You have to pay it back, yes. Okay?
But the cost of paying it back, think of this. Right now, today, if you're an investor with money, where do you put it? Stock market? Okay. But buying debt, buying bonds, putting it in the bank, buying a CD?
No.
1%, 2% at the most.
Yeah.
Now, what if you, in real time, could lend $5,000 to a neighbor for a specific period, knowing the terms and everything, and actually put your money to work? Because of the ability to put it to work, it drives down the cost, like anything. The more that's available, the lower cost of everything.
Okay.
Remember, it said commoditized. There'll be other advantages that will flow to people making that available.
Okay, because I know right now in some private lending in the real estate market, you're paying any place between 10 and 12%.
In the brave new world, won't be anywhere near that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, Jack, we're going into a world where everything is going to be connected.
It is now.
No, hold on. It's not, it's going towards that, but we're going to a place where everything, your car, your phone, your life, everything is done through the, through the internet, and everything talks to everything else. It only makes sense that in this new coming era, credit would also be that. You've got people, like what he was saying, there's no reason why a farmer, okay, he's got all of this money that's just sitting there, okay? If he actually wants to put his money to work, to kind of quote a line from Hello Dolly, he starts sprinkling it around and lets that actually, fertilize.
Make it rain.
No. Hello Dolly, something with class, taste. Hello Dolly,
Whatever.
Barbara Streisand. But, uses it like manure and just kind of spreads it around and let things grow.
Well, yeah, and you're right about that, because that's what a lot of these private investors do.
Yeah.
And granted, right now, some of them are getting 10 and 12%. But again, they're not asking for a credit check.
Yeah.
They're not asking for a credit score.
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine a world where they would have more accurate information about the borrower in real time.
Yeah.
And I think that just because it's available, I don't think that you're going to be mandated to use the credit. But if you wanted it, it was there.
Yeah. Well, it's a brave new world.
Yeah.
We are third segment, 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Okay, you ready?
I was born ready.
Oh, Lord, help us.
Look at you.
People, see what I have to put up with.
What are you talking? See what I have to put up with
Wow.
all the time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse
The
me.
things that we have to put up with.
Pardon
Meaning you and me.
Wow. When my name's on the show, you see what I'm dealing with. Yeah, a lot of love in
He
this
never
room.
lets us forget that.
No,
Mhm.
no, and he's the air
Talent.
quotes talent.
Talent.
Wow, air quotes?
Air quotes.
Wow, okay.
There we go.
I got you air quotes. We're on the downhill side of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive, so glad you could be with us. I'm Ken Chester. If you're one of those who need and desire more than your fair share of the road, and you know who you are,
I'm entitled to more.
you're always entitled to more. You should visit the show website. That's roadworthydrive.com. Listen to past shows, watch videos of us in studio and during our behind-the-scenes antics, and trust me, behind-the-scenes antics.
It's fun. It's a fun time.
Yeah, you want to see three passionate people express themselves? Yeah, you want to check that out.
I'm expressive.
Yes.
Yes. Even Jack pulls out of himself just a little bit.
Especially Jack. See Jack live a little bit on the wild side. In any case, you have no idea of the best conversations, that's it, that we have on topics we discuss during the show that we just can't seem to let it go. when we are taping, when the taping stops. Ain't that right, Sasha?
That is absolutely correct. Well, I mean, the time clock, it's, frenemy.
Oh, now you admit. Okay.
Yeah.
To say that we are passionate would be an understatement. You can also see pictures of the RoadWorthy Drive crew, as well as discover where we are and what we're doing across the universe of social media. Our dear Sasha is our very own social media diva who keeps things interesting and entertaining during the week between shows with her postings. Check us out and see how she keeps the social and our social media. You may be glad you did. In case you may not realized it, the American automotive marketplace is not only changing at an increasing rate.
No.
It is. But there's a growing supply of unsold brand new vehicles. Notice the dealers who are still offering new 2017s, and it's March 2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Including the one I got for the missus, which was a 2017 we bought in January.
Yeah.
And I bought a 2017 in November.
Mm-hmm. As always, there are winners and losers, some more than others. I thought I would shed some light on what's going on with a couple of the domestic manufacturers, and this is topic B. Dieselgate.
Okay.
Dieselgate. Round 3? It's not who you think.
Who?
Fiat Chrysler.
Oh, boy. Like they needed any more problems.
Right?
Following a ruling by a federal judge in good old San Francisco, owners of Ram and Jeep Grand Cherokees, Ram trucks and Jeep Grand Cherokees across 8 U.S. states can now proceed toward trial over allegations that their vehicle software was designed to hide emissions up to 20 times the legal limit.
Oh, good God.
What?
They were the first domestic automaker to be sued after Volkswagen started this mess in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But in fairness, they're not alone. May I also say that similar complaints had been filed against Ford and General Motors. Now, the number of vehicles is 150,000.
Okay.
The automaker promised in court to provide a fix. So we'll see what that means. So I thought I would kind of share that right quick. Dieselgate, not quite over for some, still kicking after now almost 3 years.
Yep. And it's just starting for both of them, or possibly all three of them.
Yeah. So, Ford.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Jack. I got to talk about this. The very segment they created,
Okay.
SUVs,
Yep.
having a problem. They're steadily shrinking. America's demand for mainstream sport utility vehicles has soared more than 50% in the last 5 years. Ford has not kept pace. In fact, their market share will fall to 12.7%, down from 16.2% back in 2013.
And the reason is?
The EcoSport was late. It took too long to bring Bronco to market. And they haven't let cars go yet. And that's getting ready to happen.
Well, I would have to say with the amount of cars that are sitting on dealers' lots across the country, and we've all known for what, you and I talked about this for almost 3 years now, that if you're looking for a cheap car, I will use the Dodge Dart as the example, that when they were available, you could get one heck of a deal.
You could.
On,
Brand new.
on a brand new Dodge Dart that's
Or a Chrysler 200.
or Chrysler, yeah, that hadn't been titled. Now I got to think Ford's in the same boat, and GM's in the same boat.
And we've talked about that. We've actually named names.
Yep.
And Ford Fusion probably ain't going to make it past 2020.
It's going to take them 3 years to get rid of it, or 2 years to get rid of it.
Well, bear in mind you're in the middle of the 2018 model year.
Yep.
So 2020 could be the end of the 2019 model year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we'll see what happens with that. But even with the redesigned Escape, brand new EcoSport, redesigned full-size Expedition and Navigator, they're still lagging.
And what are they lagging?
Profits and volume.
Okay.
Okay? They need to get out in front of it. And honestly, it's not really fair. this is why. They're trying to do mobility. And we talked about here how Ford really seems to have a clue out of everybody about where this thing is going mobility-wise. I really like what they're doing. But yet, they got to compete today at the same time.
And what you're thinking is that what should be making them money, they're letting slide.
Well,
so
let's be blunt for a minute. What's making them money is the F-150. It's 26% of Ford's profits.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the cash cow. But, even it's coming under fire. Brand new Silverado 2019, brand new Ram coming, brand new GMC Sierra. Ain't nobody taking prisoners right there. Nobody. But they're going to move $7 billion of development money from cars to SUVs. Now, here's the kicker. Not only is the F-150 franchise, the F-Series is their strongest model line. An investment firm says that the F-Series product line is worth 150% of the value of the entire Ford Motor Company.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying to me is we may see a time here pretty quick where you're going to end up having SUVs and trucks, and that's it.
I'm not sure quite that bad. You're going to have some crossovers. And this fast-growing market called urban or compact SUVs. And it's growing like wildfire. Basically, Toyota RAV4 and Nissan Rogue and Rogue Sport. And they're building Rogues like hotcakes. It's crazy. Now, really quick, Ford has said they will replace 75% of their lineup with hybrids and will add 4 new trucks and SUVs in the next few years. So Ford's not taking this line down. And there'll be a new Explorer by 2020. So in fairness to Ford, they're coming out and they responded with a lot of stuff that they are doing. So it's a matter of time. It may be the truth, but time is time. For the final segment, placing its bets, Toyota's winning hand, RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is heard exclusively on the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network.
You're listening to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester on the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network.
In fairness to Ford, you got to be everything to everybody. And what I didn't get a chance to really share is how strong Ford's going to be in the next 3 to 4 years. They're not just going, woe is us, gee, did that F-150 check clear? No, they're going all the way to the wall. And I would say probably Ford will have that problem corrected in the next 3 to 4 model years. And Ford's going mostly hybrid. They're going all in. And we talked about the fact that Ford said, you know what? We're not doing semi-autonomous. We're going to go from manual to full autonomous or nothing at all.
Yep.
So that's that.
Hey, it's going to be interesting, folks.
Oh yeah.
You and I can both know that. We've talked. All three of us have actually talked about that before.
Indeed, we have.
Well, I like the fact that they're. I like the fact that their vision takes them completely into the future. They're not meddling around with this, 3/4, autonomous, 1 part human. No, they are going full on, everything directed to a fully autonomous, self-driving vehicle. Which, to me personally, that's smart. That way, when the laws catch up with the technology, they are right there. With the car that you need, it's going to be an electric, it's going to be self-autonomous.
And offered by Canvas.
I know that's right. Hello, somebody. Yeah.
There we go.
And see, Canvas is a perfect spot for them to take all of those leases, all of those cars that were driven by human beings, when they're actually selling, when everything that they're selling is autonomous, when it's electric, they're going to still be taking in when those 3-year leases are up. Canvas is a beautiful place for them to still use that and to slowly integrate people to a self-driving automobile.
Well, and as I've asked her before, and I'm sure Ken's answered it, at what point are they figuring that the scale will tip from manual to autonomous?
2030, 2035.
Okay, so we're that far.
Yeah. I mean,
so you've got some time here
Okay.
before.
But okay, here's
okay,
the
wait
thing.
a second. I gotta ask this question, and it's kind of in the weeds. Jack,
Yes.
what about the manual transmissions?
Wait a minute. There are manual transmissions?
Manual transmission.
There are in very few cars,
Anymore, yeah.
and they're still in trucks.
Right. But do you understand that the discussion that we're having right now about humans driving their vehicle,
Yep.
okay, we can look back and see the discussion between humans operating their vehicle. And then it went to an automatic transmission as opposed to a manual transmission.
Right.
And there was a hoopla then. You know,
But not really.
okay, but what I'm saying is, here we are right now. And people are like, oh, I could never trust a machine. I could never trust a machine. All right. How much in control are you of your vehicle right now?
You're still in complete control.
No. No, you're not.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you start,
I can still pull it over. I can still shut it off. I can still stop the brake.
Yeah, but guess what? Since 2011, your vehicle will never put you in a skid. It will already anticipate and resolve that issue without your interaction.
Yep.
You have on-demand four-wheel drive. It will kick in and kick out without your interaction. You have anti-lock brakes, which means in a panic stop, it'll stop sooner and faster than you can. You have traction control, which will give you traction in mud, wet, snow situations long before you realize that traction was even an issue. Then you have now, in new vehicles, including the little entry-level Kia I got, actually has.
Jelly. It looks like a jelly bean.
It's a 2018. Let it go. Has emergency automatic braking. Wow. Hater.
Just saying.
Hater.
Expected like 15 people to come rolling out there with
She's a hater.
shoes on.
She's a hater. That's okay. I like it.
No, we could probably take probably the offensive line of a college football team, put it around and turn it on its side with relative ease.
You wouldn't even need that many.
Just kind of, you know, like the old
5, 6 guys.
Mentos commercial where they pick up the car and move it. But I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where right now you're really, 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 really not that much in control of your car right now. And the flip side of that, okay, to everyone and anyone that's just like, self-driving. But most of our accidents, to like an astonishing amount of percentages.
94%.
Thank you, sir. I knew he was going to bust out with that. But are caused by your human drivers. So, I mean, it's one of those things, but, you know, everybody's like, oh, the sky's falling when, you know, an autonomous vehicle, it ran right into a fire truck. It did this. It did that.
Okay, first of all, the Tesla is not fully autonomous.
It is not, sir. It is under autopilot, which is not
semi-autonomous. Thank you.
Well, but again, you're back to saying what I've been saying the whole time we've been together, and that is, be quiet over there.
Wow.
That is.
Come on.
You're right. People are not. People took to the automatic transmission because they wouldn't have to shift anymore.
right.
But when they give up putting their hands on the steering wheel and allow a machine to drive them from point A to point B, I think it's going to be a little more heck raised.
Okay.
Sasha, you need to send him the
Can
video.
I talk? Can I talk?
No, because I've been listening to you.
Can she finish?
No, actually.
You
Can
need
you
to
send
watch
him?
this. You need to watch this video of Waymo when they were just starting in
Phoenix,
Arizona. Okay, they have it's a driverless. There's not a driver behind the wheel.
It's a camera in the van.
In the van. Now, this video, and it's amazing because this video starts out when the service first started. So people are in there and they're all like, they're all nervous, they don't know what to do, and you know they're kind of wincing and everything else. But as the video progresses, you see people adapt, and there's even at the end, there's people that they get in, they fall asleep. They get in there, they start doing their own thing. They're not even worried about it. And that's what I think. People are scared about what is new, what is on edge, and we don't necessarily understand, but we're seeing in real time with the Waymo video, and I will send that to you and we'll post it on our Facebook, but it's one of those things where we're seeing this, and people get in, and they're like, I mean, at first, exactly what you were saying. You know, people were like, and there was some, like, a car came out, and they were like,
May I add, on public streets.
Yep. Not a closed road. I mean, and these are the kind of things that these are happening on American roadways right now, all over this nation.
Well, not quite all over.
Well, I mean, they're not here.
In a number of places, in a growing number of places. Okay, people, 8 minutes.
8 minutes,
50 seconds. Last segment. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's
I have 8:25 on the clock, please.
what, huh?
I'm playing Steve Harvey and Family Feud.
You need 8:50 on the clock, and that's okay.
Yeah. 8:50 is what I said.
Okay. Thought I heard 8:25.
I heard 8:25.
No, is that what I said?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Okay.
If you're listening, you are listening to the last part of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Ken Chester. On this show, we talk about technology, vehicles, insurance, banking, and generally many things transportation-related, even if it's not necessarily cars or trucks. But the one thing that rings true to all of it is that change is constant. If you're not changing, then you're falling behind. Now, the auto industry is a capital-intensive industry where financial strength is what companies need in order to cover a multitude of things changing on a multitude of fronts. With this in mind, I talk about Toyota's winning hand, and that is topic C. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to try to ease you into it gently, Jack, because this is pretty deep. Toyota creates the world's most thermally efficient 2-liter gasoline engine. Basically what this is they've developed an engine that will reduce CO2 emissions by 18%. It is 40% thermally efficient. What does that mean? It is able to turn gasoline into power 40% of the gasoline it uses. That while most of it goes off as heat, this is most efficient. Most vehicles are 30 to 35% efficient.
Okay.
What does that mean? It means that even with a hybrid, it will match, this 2-liter will match the 1.8-liter hybrid unit in a Prius, but with a higher performance ceiling. Not only does it mean better thermal performance, it is designed, and this is the hybrid unit that they'll build off this engine, to draw more power from the battery under acceleration. But Toyota didn't stop there. They also developed something they call the direct shift continuously variable transmission, which is the first CVT in the world fitted with a launch gear, used when taking off from a stop at low speeds. A gear performs that job more efficiently than the belt, resulting in more powerful acceleration and taking the burden off the belt. What does that mean? Toyota's been able to rework the entire unit with smaller bolts and pulleys, narrower angle, the spread gets a little wider, and the shifting happens 20% faster. The CVT, as a result, ups the fuel efficiency by 6% over the previous unit.
Okay.
And all I can see is that scene from Spaceballs.
Basically, this thing is more efficient with less weight and more power, is what they're talking about.
Okay.
Okay. That is a gasoline-powered engine, a continuously variable automatic transmission. And they're going to put this into most of their small cars in the next years, both in a regular gasoline and a hybrid. But as the boy says, that's not all. Let me hit you with this. Toyota, Nissan, Honda. They created a company with some other Japanese companies called Japan H2 Mobility, LLC. These 11 companies are designed to accelerate deployment of hydrogen stations in Japan.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. They're putting in, roughly to start, a little shy of $500,000. And the ultimate goal is to smoothly increase the number of fuel cell vehicles on the road in Japan and thus to sustainably build the hydrogen station business. People have been complaining about the electrical infrastructure, hydrogen infrastructure. In Japan, the companies are saying, we'll put up the money and do it ourselves. We'll work with the government. We'll do it.
It's the only way that you're going to be able to get that technology to actually be a part of the future. I mean, there's no sense buying it right now because at least here in the U.S., there's minuscule amount of places where you can recharge.
Let me blow your mind. Now, while this organization plans to build 80 stations nationwide by 2021, that's 3 years from now,
Okay.
Japanese Council for Strategic, the Japanese Council for a Strategy for Hydrogen and Fuel Cell target the completion of 160 hydrogen stations serving about 40,000 fuel cell vehicles in a year and a half.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not playing. And that's the point. The reason why I bring this up, Toyota's dealing in gasoline. Toyota's still dealing in hydrogen.
Yep.
Toyota's linked up with Mazda to develop hybrid vehicles. That's how you spread the money when you don't know what is going to be the dominant thing.
Well, and aren't they also into electric?
Absolutely. And they're doing some of that with their joint venture with Mazda to spread the risk.
Yeah, but here's my question, and because I'm not sure, which between the fuel cell vehicles and the electric vehicles, which one has more range?
That would depend on how it's being used.
Okay.
The Toyota Mirai, which is a fuel cell vehicle sold in the United States, has a range of about 300 miles from tank to full.
Okay.
There's not a pure electric Toyota Prius. They're usually plug-in hybrids.
Okay.
So that's kind of lame. But Toyota also is working on developing a solid-state lithium-ion battery.
Right.
So again, they're spreading their risk across a broad variety of technologies, all of which designed to put them in the catbird seat as emissions tighten, as fuel economy standards tighten, as consumer preferences change. They will have probably one of the right powertrains needed for whatever the customer desires. And they're spending money across a broad range, either on their own, or in partnership, or in a deal like with Mazda.
Well, like right now, with the fuel cells, you won't run into the cobalt issue. I mean, because let's be honest, I mean, you could have the most efficient electric car, but cobalt and obtaining the materials that you need for your electric vehicle to make them is going to be an issue. I mean, they're hackling that out right now.
And I am so glad she must have been reading my notes during the production meeting. Toyota finds a way to lower EV battery costs. Now, I'm not even pronouncing these minerals because I haven't even heard of them. But basically, neodymium, which is used in magnets for electric cars, they found a way to reduce the amount used by 20%. They plan to use, again, another big word called lanthanum, and cerium in the magnets for its electric vehicles as batteries as a replacement for that metal.
Okay.
The development can help lower the cost of producing electric cars on a mass production basis. And then, of course, I talked about their work with lithium-ion batteries.
Right.
My point is this. Ford may have it down, and they do, about mobility. Toyota has it down on the technology side with respect to, okay, we need to take an internal combustion engine, make it as efficient as we possibly can, then tidy that up with a hybrid to make it even more efficient. Batteries, hydrogen, they're all in. And on that note, that brings us to the end of this hour together. Be sure to drop by at the same time next week when we do it all over again. On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive crew, thanks for listening. This has been RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is a copyrighted presentation of the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of the Motor News Media Corporation.
As you may have figured out, change is the constant as we travel down this road together of mobility, increased fuel economy, less pollution, a whole bunch of other things, autonomous vehicles. A Wower with us each week will make you a more informed person. On behalf of Jack, Sasha, and myself, thanks for watching Roadworthy Drive Behind the Scenes. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.